You know what I found out? I found out that most men don't need therapy. Most men don't need therapy. Welcome to Disruptive Minds. I'm your host, Jerome A. Carter, and the A stand for always learning. Most men don't need therapy. They don't. You don't need to go to therapy. Now, there's exceptions to the rule. So when I say most, I mean 80%. 80%. If you know anything about a bell curve has 80% in the middle, there's 10% here, there's 10% here, that makes 100. So there's outliers. These are the outliers. See, I'm doing like this with fists to help you understand these are outliers. Like, no, it's not true. My uncle needed. Okay, your uncle's in these outliers. This is the Vietnam veterans. These are people who were born, messed up. Their mom did too much. These are the people who are war veterans and stuff like that, and things that they had traumatic events happen to them. This is him. These are the war veterans and stuff like that going to the VA. There's different variables, but right here, where I'm at, right here, 80%, most of y'all don't need therapy. Most men need to sit down, shut up, get a pencil, get a pen, a piece of paper, and start writing down their thoughts. That's what I'm learning. The more I'm interacting with people in the 12 years that I was in law enforcement, men just need to just sit down and relax, chill in a peaceful environment and get their thoughts together. I was listening to Earl Nightingale. Y'all know who that is. Look it up. Earl Nightingale was like, the problem with most men in general is that they don't think. Men don't think. Men are moving strictly off of emotion. Where does that emotion come from? It comes from their mothers. More often than not, men are RBMs. What are RBMs? Raised by their mom, which means what? They're going to be highly what? Emotional, highly what? Irrational, and highly what? They're just going to be off the chain. Emotional, irrational, and illogical. There we go. That's the other one. I forgot it that quick because I've been thinking about other things. You're going to be highly irrational, illogical, and highly emotional. And that's why men do the dumb things that they do. That's why men crashing out and all this other stuff, because they're not what? They're not thinking. They're off their emotions. Next thing you know, boop, they go to police. Now you sitting in prison. Now you sitting in time. Now you have time to sit and think. When you're in prison, that's why you come out of prison and you're on some, I'm focused. I know what I want to do. Because you're in prison. You had time to sit and think for the last 10 years about your life. You're like, okay, this is what I'm getting ready to do. Is that all people? No, remember, 80%. There's this and there's this. There are people who are going to go back, and there are people who are just like, But the 80%, they're going to be like, hey, I'm not trying to go back. Go back people, and the people who are, remember, 80's right here. So when you hear that, well, not all, and that's not true. 80% bell curve, look it up. 80% are not trying to go back. 10%, yep. The other 10, And we can do this all day long. Remember, I got well over, I think now about 20,000 hours of mental health studies. And I study myself. I don't go to, you should go to school for that, and you should go to school for that, and you should go to school and get a master's and PhD. No, because what they do is they put you right here. When you go to school for mental health, they put you right here. This is how we do it. This is how things need to be done. And that's not how things work in the real world. Trust me, I know. 12 years in law enforcement, it doesn't work that way. It does not. Like they told me when I was in the academy class, I won't forget it, 1999. I was going through the Cobb County Police Department. And I was going through the class. They say, we'll teach you enough to get you killed. Let me say that again in case you missed it. They'll teach you enough to get you killed. If you follow the book, you will get killed. I promise you that. Because the book is primarily written by people who don't experience what goes on in the real world. Now, there are officers who do dumb stuff on the outside. Of course there are. Why? 80%. 80% here, 10% here, 10% here, 80% here. 80% of officers are not doing the dumb shit. 10% over here are doing the dumb shit. 10% over here, it's the same as prison, right? You starting to get it? You're not getting it? Don't worry, I got you. Most men don't need mental health therapy. Most men don't need that. Most men are raised by mom, which means they're highly illogical, highly irrational, and highly emotional, and they're doing dumb stuff. You sit them down and say, you need to start writing your thoughts. What is your plan for 6 months? What is your plan for a year? What is your plan for 2 years? What is your plan for 5 years? I don't care what your handwriting looks like. We already discussed that in one of my older videos. We're not going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's insanity. We're not doing that on this channel. That's not how my channel is structured. We're going to move forward. That's why there's something called, what I call 6%. Only 6% of people who follow me are going to understand anything I'm talking about. Only 6%. Why? Because the comprehension levels are low, because the education system is not no good. It's not no good for a reason. The system's not broken. The system's not broken. The system's not broken. It was created this way. That's something else that people don't sort of grasp that concept of like, they need to fix it. It's not broken. They need to do better. It's not broken. They need to do this. It's not broken. It was designed this way. Certain things are designed to break. I got this bottle right here. You twist the top on the bottle, and what happens? It breaks the seal, and the seal is here, the bottle cap is here. The system is just how it was designed. It was designed so that you twist the top off, and it breaks the seal. The seal is still on here, the cap is here. It's broken, right? But is it broken? It was designed that way. It was designed to make sure it's sealed, so when you get it, you crack the seal, you know that you're the one who broke, you're the one who broke the seal, and you know, okay, I broke the seal, I know it's safe, I can drink it. I know this is some high level stuff. I know it is. I know it's okay. I got you. I got you, pumpkin. I got you. Some high level stuff. That's not true. That's not true. I love hearing that. That's not true. It is. That's how things work. 4 years in the military, 12 years in law enforcement, I started to realize the system's not broken. It was built this way. We start seeing the system from the outside in when you're inside the system. That's something else we need to talk about when it comes to men and mental health. You start to see more of the system from the outside in versus the inside out. Okay? You start to see more of the system. When you're inside of it, you see more of it. People in prison understand how the prison system works because they're inside the system. So when they get out, they're like, okay, 80%, like, I ain't trying to go back in. They see how the system was built on you coming back. But see, as I'm saying, this channel, I try to keep it not too high level so we all can have this conversation. But all this talking we're doing is not getting nothing done. We need more action. You're not gonna fix something that isn't broken. And I think that's what a lot of people want to do. They want to fix something that isn't broken. How do you fix something that isn't broken? I'll wait. Put it in the comments because I'm curious how you're going to do that. How are you going to fix something that isn't broken? So let's say the AC in my car right now was working. It's not broken. So you're like, oh, we need to fix it. It's not broken. We need to fix it. It's blowing. I feel the AC blowing on me. It's not broken. We need to fix the system. It's just... No. So let's go back to the black man, like I said, therapy. Most men don't need therapy. Most men need to sit down, be quiet, and write their thoughts out. Most men aren't going to do that. Probably because they're illiterate. Let's talk about that. Let's be really honest with each other. Can I be honest with you? I'm always going to be honest with you because I don't lie to people because I forget stuff too much. So if I tell you the truth, my subconscious is always going to give you the truth. If I lie to you, my subconscious is like, what did you tell this person? I don't remember. So I'm always going to tell you the truth. That's one of the reasons why I'm just so truthful. Okay? With that being said, trying to fix something that isn't broken, it's not broken. It's just that you were not, let me turn this so I don't cool off the phone. It's not broken per se. It's just needs to be altered. Is that a better word? It needs to be altered. Yeah, we need to alter it. So I say all this to say most black men don't need therapy. Most black men don't need therapy. What they need is to sit down, be quiet, and sit with their thoughts. Most black men, there's a lot of black men who are illiterate. They don't read. They can't write. That's above my pay grade. I really can't push back on that. Okay? But you have to write. I understand you don't know how to read too well or write too well. You still have to write. There's no options here. You have to write. All right? So that's what I'm saying about most black men do not need therapy. They just don't. They're very coherent. They're on the streets. They're selling the drugs. They're doing what they do. They're blah, blah, blah. So if they can do all that, but for some odd reason they can't comprehend other things, come on now. It doesn't make sense. You can comprehend with a fifth, an eighth, and a third, and all these other numbers that they throw out when selling weed and all this other crap that they out here selling. They can do the math on that. Oh, you got 3 pills. Boom, you need to give me like $130. You can do all that, but you can't sit down and write your thoughts out. Most black men don't need therapy. They need time to sit by themselves. They need time to figure things out for however long that takes. But most black men are not going to do that. Most men are not going to do that, but they're going to use sex, alcohol, drugs, food, and work, which is the coping skills that men use to get past all that, to keep the ball rolling. Eventually, that ball's going to stop. So all the drugs, sex, all that stuff's not going to work. All the sex, alcohol, drugs, food, and work is not going to work. It's not. Eventually, it's going to run out. You're going to be by yourself, trying to figure this thing out at 60, 50, 60, 70. That's crazy. Most men just need time to sit back, stop chasing all these women, deal with the situations in front of you, and keep it pushing. Most men don't want to do that, so they do the sex, alcohol, drugs, food, and work. That's why I make these videos. I'm going to put it out there because you're like, oh, you need therapy. You don't need therapy. No, your mom wasn't around. I understand your mom wasn't around, but you knew to do not do this. My dad wasn't around. I understand your dad wasn't around, but you knew not to do this. Yeah, but I was born in the system and I got anger issues. If you're telling me you got anger issues and you know you got anger issues, how you gonna deal with those anger issues? I just lash out, but you don't lash out at everybody. Why is that? You have a certain point of view where you're like, okay, I'm not gonna lash out at this person. This person knocked my block off. So you know how to control your lashing out. Interesting, huh? These are excuses. Excuses are easy. Reasons are real. Let me say that again. Excuses are easy, but reasons are real. Because you don't act this way toward everybody, which means you know how to control yourself. You just choose not to. Excuses are easy. Reasons are real. I ain't gonna make this video too long, so I'm gonna just wrap it up right here and say, look, most men do not need therapy. Most men need to sit by themselves and figure this thing out and then come out of that and apply that to their life. Like, okay, you're causing a problem, you got to be gone. You're good to me, you're coming closer. I'm going to do this over here to get this right. I'm going to do this over there to do that right. That's it. You shouldn't have to go to prison to figure this out. You should just be able to sit by yourself. I don't know how long it's going to take. A week, a year, years, a decade. I have no clue. Don't care. What I do care about is that you actually do it. Sit down and figure this out. There are people who have done things to you. Figure it out. I'm not calling, do not do any harm to anybody or any harm to yourself. But you need to figure this out because nobody's going to figure it out for you. Most men do not need therapy. They need to sit down and think. Get a pen and paper, write your thoughts down, look at your thoughts, and start making plans for the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and work yourself backwards. If that's too much for you, like I said, it's only for 6% of my people. Because a lot of these people are not going to be able to comprehend everything I'm saying. 6%. I was listening to Love Dorsey today, and she talked about those movies where you see the people going into spaceships and they're going into space and living off the planet. What people do they take there? They take people who are productive and people who are trying to make big changes and people who are trying to do things and creative and engineers and different things like that. They're not taking everybody. They're taking the who? 6%.